You have seen Pani Puri on the street, and thought it was simple. One bite, one splash, gone in seconds. But in this factory, that crunch is engineered at insane scale. These start as thin, plain discs of dough. Then in one perfect moment, they inflate into hollow Gol Gappa shells that are light, crisp, and strong enough to hold filling without collapsing. Here is the catch. One tiny change, in moisture, temperature, or thickness can ruin the puff and kill the crunch. So today we are going inside the Pani Puri factory, to watch how millions of shells are made daily. Step by step, until the final sealed packs roll out. Stay close for the puff moment. That is the real magic.
Here we see the results of our stringent quality control.
Most people think the
Perfectly
secret is
uniform
frying,
shells are separated from those
but
with
this tunnel
defects before
decides the
moving to
entire
packaging
batch.
stage.
This is where the discs lose just enough moisture to puff, without turning brittle. A few seconds too short, and they carry too much water, stay flat, and go oily. A few seconds too long, and the surface dries out, cracks, and breaks under pressure. So the factory does not gamble here. Same airflow, same heat, same belt speed, same thickness, every single minute. Because, when you are making millions a day, consistency is not a bonus. It is the product. And what you are really protecting right now, is the crunch you will hear later. This is the moment. Watch the discs the second they hit the oil. Flat becomes hollow, instantly. The shell inflates like a tiny balloon you can eat, and the surface locks into that crisp, delicate skin. But this only happens inside a narrow window.
Unit is critical.
Too hot and they
Utilizing
brown
a
before they fully
continuous
puff.
loop system to maintain
Too
precise
cool and they
temperature
absorb
control
oil
of the
and go heavy.
circulating oil.
Too wet and they sag. Too dry and they crack mid-inflation. So the fryer has to hold temperature like a steady heartbeat, while the line keeps spacing perfect. So each shell gets the same heat, the same time, the same puff. When it is right, it looks effortless, but it is precision at full speed. At this stage, the crunch is no longer made by heat. It is protected by the seal. A shell can be perfect, and still fail if the packaging leaks air and moisture. One weak edge, one wrinkle, one micro gap, and the whole pack turns soft before it reaches the shelf. That is why this check is ruthless. The camera scans the seal line, the light exposes gaps you cannot see, and anything suspicious gets kicked out immediately. No debate, no second chance. Because when you ship by the pallet, small packaging mistake becomes a massive complaint later. This is where the factory proves it is not just fast. It is controlled. Now the job is simple, but unforgiving. Protect the product on the way out. Packed shells hate humidity. So pallets move fast, routes stay controlled, and the loading flow is designed to keep conditions stable from storage to truck. Everything is organized by batch order, so older production moves first, and nothing sits exposed longer than it should. This is the quiet side of mass production. Logistics that protects texture. Because the real goal is not just making millions of shells. It is making sure they arrive with the same crisp crack you would expect from fresh Gol Gappa. And that is the full journey. From grain and dough to a perfectly hollow Pani Puri shell, made at a scale that never slows down. Rolling, cutting, controlled drying, dramatic puff in hot oil, then cooling, sorting, sealing, and shipping. All to protect one thing: that clean, sharp crunch. If you enjoyed this factory tour, like the video, share it with a friend who loves Gol Gappa, and subscribe to Factory Flow for more behind the scenes food production. You rarely get to see this close. And tell me in the comments, do you like your Pani Puri extra thin and ultra crispy, or slightly thicker with a stronger bite?